The recent armed conflict between Mizoram and Assam, which left at least 5 Assam police personnel and 1 civilian dead, is very unfortunate. The news of this ugly confrontation is shocking to all Indians, including the Assam and Mizoram people. To have a better understanding of what had caused such an escalation between the two states, let us try to recap the recent incidents which triggered the 26 July 2021 deadly gunfight. Boundary dispute between Mizoram and Assam is not a new thing. It has been a long-standing issue with a number of minor conflicts arising between the two states in the past, but all that could be presumably settled by a series of talks between the two states. We must remember that the deadly gunfight at Vairengte on 26 July was not a one-off incident. It was preceded by a series of armed aggressions and assaults on Mizoram by the Assam Armed Police Forces and officials. So let us try to summarize some of the recent important events. On 9th October 2020, a large contingent of Assam Armed Police Forces led by Deputy Commissioner Karimganj and Superintendent of Police Karimganj intruded into Mamit district of Mizoram and approached the farmhouse belonging to John Zoloma and Ben David at Thinglun village. They completely burned down the farmhouse of John Zoloma, and not only that, these intruders also destroyed the betel nut plantation around the farmhouse, which also included the plantation in a nearby farm belonging to Mr. Ben David. On 17th October 2020, Assam Armed Police Forces and angry civilians of Kachar intruded into Mizoram again and completely destroyed the On 17th October 2020, Assam Armed Police Forces and angry civilians of Kachar intruded into Mizoram again and completely destroyed the COVID-19 duty post at Saihapui village of Kolosip district in Mizoram. The very same day at nightfalls, a group of civilians from Kachar area pelted stones at Mizoram police duty post at Vairengte village of Kolosip district again, which resulted in a heated clash between civilians from both sides. Some constructions were burnt down and 4 to 5 people from Mizoram side were injured and taken to the district hospital. One of them sustained injury of a sharp blade cut in his neck. Following this 17th October incident in 2020, the Assam state-sponsored economic blockade was imposed against Mizoram for a long period, starting from 17th October 2020. A series of talks were held between the officials of the two states, followed by an intervention of Union Home Ministry. After a series of parleys and video conference meetings held between Chief Secretaries of Mizoram and Assam on 8th November 2020, vehicular movement in National Highway T06 resumed on 11th November 2020, and Mizoram had been under economic blockade of Assam for 26 days. The situation at the boundary had been peaceful since then, but on 2nd June 2021, Assam government officials, accompanied by the Assam Armed Police and CRPF personnel, entered Mizoram again, and they intruded in the cultivation area of Tsubel villages of Mamit district, Mizoram, and threatened one farmer, John Halliday, not to continue his farmhouse construction. On 4th June 2021, unknown miscreants from Assam intruded into Zopai, Kolosip district, and burnt down 2 farm huts located on the paddy field. On 10th June 2021, Assam government officials, including the former Home Secretary of Assam, visited the interstate border between Vairengte and Leilapur by forcibly crossing the duty post of CRPF and proceeded up to Mizoram police duty post at Vairengte. On 11th June 2021, the Assam government officials, led by Deputy Commissioner and Superintendent of Police of Hailakandi district, along with forest officials and 70 armed police, accompanied by civilians from Gutkuti village, Assam, visited the paddy field of John Halliday at Vale Marmit district again. On 27 June 2021, Assam police personnel, led by Deputy Superintendent of Police Hailakandi district of Assam, accompanied by 20 civilians from Assam, intruded into Mizoram and visited Vairengte village water source near Aitlang. 2 days later, on 29 June 2021, the Assam police, led by Deputy Superintendent of Police Hailakandi district, entered into Mizoram again and established their camps at Aitlang near Vairengte village of Mizoram. On 30th June 2021, district commissioners of both Kolosip district Mizoram and Hailakandi Assam agreed for peaceful stationing of police personnel at Aitlang to prevent further acceleration of law and order issue in the area. However, on 1st July 2020, the makeshift tent erected by Mizoram police at Aitlang was forcefully dismantled by the Assam police. And to add fuel to the fire, on 10th July 2021, Assam government started road construction work near Boartsep village of Mizoram and destroyed a huge area of cultivation and crops of Mizo farmers. The Assam government continues its land-grabbing game and aggression into Mizoram. And finally, the tension erupted and took an ugly turn on the evening of 26 July 2021. On that fateful day, around 200 Assam armed police, led by IGP, accompanied by DC Kachar and SP Kachar and also DFO Kachar, came to the auto rickshaw stand of Vairengte village in Mizoram. They were armed with sophisticated weapons and they even brought prison van and ambulance with them. They forcibly crossed the duty post manned by CRPF personnel and overran a duty post manned by one section of Mizoram police personnel. The Assam police also damaged several vehicles that were travelling along the national highway between Vairengte and Lailapur. At the beginning of the confrontation, tear gas and grenades were launched at Mizoram police and civilians, followed by firing from the side of Assam around 4:50 p.m. After Assam police opened fire, Mizoram police also had to retaliate to protect the lives of the civilians. One civilian from Mizoram sustained bullet injury in his leg, whereas Assam reportedly had 5 police personnel and 1 civilian succumbing to their injuries and more than 50 injured. This horrific and unfortunate incident was not a one-off incident. It was preceded and triggered by a series of armed aggressions and assaults, verbal intimidation, destructive operations on civil and government properties, violation of human and civil rights of the Mizo people, and trespassing in Mizoram in recent times by the Assam Armed Police Forces. In other words, the 26 July occurrence was only flame which became out of control, configured by the Assam Armed Police and officials long before its culmination.